The rise of the pirate republic of Victual Brothers, awesome unique advances, and even location modifiers increasing copper output by 5 times. Sweden has it all in Europe and Versailles 5, and today I will show you how to properly start a Swedish campaign and dominate Scandinavia. Let's go! So here we are as the Kingdom of Sweden. Sweden is not very strong at the start. We have a lot of big problems. Our economy is pretty bad at the beginning. We have an incompetent ruler with extremely low stats, and partly because of this we also have extremely low crown power at 15%. And if you don't have 25% crown power, you get massive debuffs for tax efficiency, efficiency of the cabinet, and more. To make things worse, our ruler is an embezzler. I'm pretty sure this is a random trait, so you might be able to get a better start than me, but I'm going to stick with this. Now, let's begin with our research. We're going to queue up organized religion, into guilds, into cost of purchasing food, monthly diplomats, and institution growth. For the cabinet actions, the first one we're going to assign to strengthen government to get more monthly legitimacy. Because this is a military action, we will need a cabinet member with the highest military skill. And fortunately, we do have some good cabinet members available, so let's hire this one with 74. The second action that we're going to assign is going to be stability investment, stabilize our country. And we're going to make one of them head of the cabinet to increase his efficiency. Now, let's pick our possible reforms. We're going to go with additional crown power with autocracy. And I like to select food production plus 20% with agricultural cultivation for the second one. Looking into our estate privileges, there is one privilege that we desperately need to get rid of, and that is communal lands. And this will cost us 40 free stability. As long as we have positive stability, we are okay. However, if this drops down, you can lose a lot of estate satisfaction equilibrium, and then you will have issues with your country. So what I like to do is get rid of this, pay the stability, pay the estate satisfaction. We're going to restore the state satisfaction by granting the privilege common militias, which is going to increase our levy combat efficiency. And apart from this, and granting one privilege for the tribes, pasture access, which is not really going to upset other estates that much because it gives very little power to the estate. We are not going to touch this anymore. We want to wait until our loyalty restores and reaches our equilibrium before changing any other privileges. Now let's go to our budget. We will be automating our taxes for the estates. We will reduce the diplo spending as long as our one and only subject is still happy. We don't need to pay anything. So if it's at 0, then he's gonna become disloyal. We're gonna keep this at like +1. We want to spend as few ducats on this as possible. We're gonna increase the cost of the court to the maximum, stability cost to the maximum. We will reduce the fort maintenance, and I like to disable automation for this. And we will also delete the stockage here in the town of Wisby because simply it's not really giving us any benefits. We are going to save a little bit of money with this. Not to mention that this province will later rebel to an event, so we don't want us to have any fortifications. Now, we can pick our rivals. We're gonna go with Lithuania, Muscovy, or Vladimir. Doesn't really matter at the start. I think the only one that would matter for us would be Denmark. Our main target anyways is going to be Novgorod in early parts of the campaign. I briefly mentioned that we have a subject, and that is the Kingdom of Scania. It's a fiefdom. We can increase the relations with these guys and we will be able to integrate them. Apart from Scania, we also have the union with Norway. It acts a bit different than a subject because we need to pass the union policies to unify with them. 5 years after the start of the game, we will be able to pass Union Foundation and become the senior member in this union. And later, every 5 years, we can pass another law until we have question of unification, which is when we will be able to start integrating them. And Norway also has a bunch of subjects such as Orkney, Iceland, and Greenland, so we will eventually get these too. A huge portion of Scandinavia is not colonized at the beginning, and some of our starting locations are actually colonies. We could create a colonial charter and get the rest of this specific province, for example, but it would cost us a little bit of money and we would need to pay monthly maintenance. I prefer to do this once we stabilize our economy. We first need to make sure that we have maxed out legitimacy so that we have more crown power, and we need to have at least some decent stability so that we don't need to worry about the state's satisfaction. Another big issue for us at the start of the game is going to be food. So essentially what we're going to do is start upgrading some of our RGOs, some of our food RGOs. And we want to do this in several locations and not just upgrade one location, for example, because each of these upgrades is going to employ up to 1,000 laborers, and it's not going to immediately just fill up the building. We will need to wait for promotion. And for example, in this location, we're going to have 15 peasants becoming laborers monthly. So if we, for example, do another upgrade in a different location, it's also at the same time going to promote peasants in this specific location. So basically, we get faster promotion overall and the faster production of food, which is why I'm going to scatter this around and upgrade a few of our food locations. There, let's do this livestock location as well. And we don't want to spend all of our money because we're going to be losing money monthly right now as we're paying so much for the cost of the court and stability. Let's not forget to increase our minting. This is going to make us a little bit more money, up to 0% so that we don't generate any inflation. And also, let's enable some automation on the right side of our screen. I like to go for trade early on. I always go for close and open buildings, subsidized buildings. And at the bottom of the screen, we can select replace generals and admirals too. Of course, this is all up to you. You can select whatever you want to. I'm just showing what I like to enable. Alright, we have our first historical event, the Swedish demands of Novgorodian conversion. With the historical option, we can persuade Novgorod to convert to Catholicism, which is going to give us 10% estate satisfaction for the clergy, and we will challenge the clergy of Novgorod to a theological debate. And we have the outcome of this event. Veliki Novgorod forwards us to Byzantium. With the historical option Preposterous send the army instead, we will lose a bit of prestige, but we will get a really good casus belli on Novgorod that we can use for the next 4 years. This casus belli makes conquering provinces 50% more expensive, which is not as bad as it sounds, because if we were to get 20 spy network and make a religious claim ourselves, the cost would be plus 75%. Now, there is still a little bit of a problem. We cannot just immediately go and use this casus belli because we have this alliance set. Well, technically not an alliance set, this is actually a union. As long as Novgorod has the ruler Ivan Rurikovich, they're gonna be in the union with Muscovy and a bunch of Russian principalities. However, he usually passes away very early into the game, so we might be able to use these claims anyways. We just need to wait and keep our eye on Novgorod. If Ivan passes away, we immediately go and start the war. Birgitta Vasa criticizes King Magnus. One of her most notable critiques may have been directed at King Magnus, who reigned during her lifetime. She accused him of being an ineffective ruler and criticized the extravagance and corruption of his court. And she is completely right, this guy sucks, man. It is embarrassing, like Drake would say, and we will lose 5 legitimacy. So this is what usually happens, guys. We're paying 3 ducats monthly for food because we don't have enough food in our markets now. And this is why you want to upgrade your food RGOs as early as possible, because eventually we're gonna tackle this problem. The Karelian Rebellion of 1338 Sweden's support. If we were to select the historical option, we could pay 20 ducats, get a little bit of a prestige boost, belligerent status boost, and we would support the Karelian independence fighters against Novgorod. However, I don't think it's necessary. It's a little bit of a waste of 20 ducats, so I would rather not go with it. There are a lot of historical events for Sweden, especially in early parts of the campaign. Now we have the fate of southern Halland. This is an interesting one. The Kingdom of Denmark is still in debt and we have the money to spare. Do we though? We have 28 ducats in our balance and we're losing 4 ducats monthly. I think the game is kinda considering that we would keep our starting money for this, because we could offer to buy Laholm and Asbo from them to unify our lands in Scania. It would be these 2 locations here that we would purchase. And guys, it would cost us 250 ducats. Yeah, that's pretty insane because one loan for us is 18 ducats. So this would create a lot of loans. And the more loans you have, the lower your crown power is going to be. So we realistically cannot afford this. There is a thing about refusing to pay off the loans because one of the banks bankrupts in early parts of the campaign. But I still don't think it's worth it because it would not get rid of all of our loans. And our crown power would still be dog shit. So I recommend not to purchase these locations. I think it's a bit of a noob trap because 250 ducats early is an insane amount of money. It's gonna be pretty easy for us to get these locations from Denmark by just conquering it anyways later on, and it's not like we would really profit from them right now because it would not go to us but to our subject of Scania. So we're just gonna get a little bit of prestige instead of the first option. Okay guys, the good news is that we have positive stability, so I would rather not pay so much for it right now. Let's leave this at like 0.30. And also, we're soon gonna have max legitimacy, which means we will pay less for the cost of the court, and we're gonna look much better than what we currently look like in our economy. I think it's not gonna be too big of a problem if we take out like a couple of loans early. There we go, the cost of court is down to 1.3 ducats now that we're maxed out, and of course we have a little bit more crown power, which generally is very good for us. I actually love how our estates are building some decent buildings. Like our nobles currently are building an irrigation, which is a building that increases food production. Keep this up, nobles, man. You're doing the Lord's work right now. We have our first parliament, guys. Now, I would recommend, first of all, to select Stockholm because this is going to move us towards centralization, and then go for the highest percentage option, such as increased ties to our neighbors. We already have high parliament support. If we get 50%, then we can ask for a law change, and we can use our agendas to increase the support. We have change policy for our first agenda, and this would give us mandatory impressment. I mean, it's not horrible, but I kind of don't want to lose 12 stability for this, and it's not a law that I would pass. We could go for demand for a new monastery instead, which would cost us 17 ducats, and it would build a monastery, which is a decent building. It increases max literacy. So you know what, sure, let's go for this option, and then let's use 50% to pass a law. And the first one, I think it's going to be most beneficial for us if we go for distribution of power and get rid of traditional distribution, which reduces our crown power and gives us decentralization. We're going to switch this to favor the ruler to create a big difference for the crown power. And basically, guys, if we don't get another 50% parliament support, then we're going to fail our initial agenda, but we would only lose 7 stability, so it's not bad to do this. If you get a law passed, if you get like a casus belli, it's definitely worth it. Of course, if you get lucky with the agendas, you could push for another 50%, do another action, or even complete the agenda too. Kinda depends on luck. Alright guys, so our ruler, although he is a dork, sometimes he does right decisions. We have the laws of King Magnus, and if we enact his laws, we will actually move towards centralization by 5 points and get 10 legitimacy, but this would cost us 10% estate satisfaction for the nobles, and we already have maxed out legitimacy. So this is very situational for which option you actually go for, because in my case, the second option is going to be more beneficial even though we don't want to move towards decentralization. The estate satisfaction is going to be useful, so I'm going to select the second option, but if you don't have max legitimacy, I would say go for the first one. You also want to pay attention to your rebels. If you have like the noble estate rebelling, if you have a high percentage for them to pop out, then you might not want to upset them. Okay, we only have a couple of years left for the claim. Hopefully Ivan is gonna pass away soon. I actually for a second thought that he passed away because he changed his outfit for some reason. This is what I was mentioning a bit earlier when it came to the purchase of the Scania lands. Your loans can get cancelled, but it's not going to be all of the loans. Currently we have only one, and if we cancel it, then we're gonna get a very minor diplomatic reputation reduction, and we can't afford this. We're gonna cancel this loan. Alright, awesome. Our economy is a little bit more stabilized. We can pay a bit more for stability investment. It's now 1342 and we enter the age of Renaissance. Now we get to pick one of the age focuses. You want to pick wisely because the focus, or rather the advances that you get from the focus, are going to stay with you for the rest of the game. I would recommend to go for the admin focus because it has some awesome advances such as reduced proximity cost, which increases your control, max literacy. I'm generally a big fan for the first age to go for admin focus. So it's now April and our claim was about to expire in June, and fortunately Ivan Rurikovich is now dust, which means we can go ahead and declare our war as Novgorod is no longer in the Muscovite Union. We're gonna use Insulted as casus belli and go for it. Now we can raise up 6 naval levies, and we also have 8,000 army levies, so that's a pretty big army. We're gonna crush them. Let's just make sure to raise up our fort maintenance just for a brief time because we don't want this fort to be taken over quickly by Novgorod. Norway has proposed Swedish-Norwegian Union enact a policy, and let's see. If we go to the overview, we can see that we are rank 51 and Norway is 57, which means we can definitely go and enact establish seniority because we would become the senior partner. And alright, let's get our naval levies together because we're gonna use these to actually transport our army. We don't want to just walk around all the way across Scandinavia, it would take a very long time. There we go, 4,000 loaded up, and let's go transport these boys. Y'all can already go siege something. Alright, what do we got here? 3,000 levies. I don't like what he's doing. We're gonna try and catch him in Kopori because he's probably going to try and unsiege us. Yep, exactly. There you go, you walked into our trap, boy. That's what you get, and that's 13 war score for us. Because he's down to very few levies, I feel very confident now to siege down his capital with one of our stacks, and with the other one we're going to try and continue sieging province capitals and hunt them around at the same time. Now it looks like we can select education for our children, so we're always gonna go with admin education. I think it's the most important stat to have currently because it affects crown power and proximity cost. And also, guys, we can disable the fort maintenance again. Save up some cash. It's actually going to be the Black Death in just 4 years, so we kind of want to start saving up some cash so that we can build at least one hospital. And that's another 10% satisfaction for the nobles, which puts them at 57%. And actually, I feel very confident about granting more privileges now. Let's go with the clergy. They have some good ones, such as centralization progress with the great works of faith. And actually, let's grant one to the burghers. We're going to need the building cost reduction. There we go. We finished our initial research, guys, so now we can queue up scholarly treatises, and we're going to start queuing these up in a very specific sequence because we want to get the annexation cost reduction. So let's go with improved relations, loyalty of subjects, subject opinions, and then we have diplo annexation cost reduction with titles consolidation. This is going to be useful because we're going to start annexing Scania now. And let's go with proximity cost reduction, expected cost of court, max literacy of nobles. We can empower our army a little bit with additional morale. That's gonna be enough for now. And yeah, there we go. This was a good reminder that we can start the annexation now. So Scania's loyalty is 65%. Later on, we're gonna increase the diplo spending, and this is gonna increase how much loyalty they're going to get. And if they get 70%, we're gonna start seizing territories from them, because this way we will be able to annex them faster. And alright guys, the Novgorod war is finished, so we're gonna be stealing their vassal of Oreshek. We're gonna take 2 full provinces that will connect us to Estonia, all of their money, 100 ducats, and war reparations. This is an insanely good war for us. Now, of course, these locations that we just took, they will have pretty much no control because they are not even integrated and they're so far away from our capital. So the best thing for us to do is going to be releasing a subject here. We're going to make it a custom subject, make it a vassal, give it a leader. And I personally, what I like to do is grant 2 provinces in total to a subject, not to make it too big and not too small. So we're gonna give this additional province, and now we have a decent sized subject. Wait, now I realized, how does this make sense? So Estonia is in the war of first rebellion against Denmark, but there is no Denmark in this war. Okay, that's interesting, but what we can do, guys, is begin building spy network, because we might be able to snatch Estonia for ourselves. And actually, because we're maxed out at legitimacy, we can assign a different action for one of our cabinet members, and we're gonna go with change societal values, and we're gonna start pushing for centralization now. We already have a decent push of 0.18, and it's not gonna take us a very long time to get rid of the 24 decentralization and start getting some additional crown power and proximity cost reduction with centralization. We already have 23% crown power, so we're looking way more stable than we were at the beginning. There we go, guys. We can actually afford to build our first hospital. It costs us 137 ducats, and the price is impacted by us having a surplus of masonry and glass. You can get a 33% discount at maximum, and we're nearly getting the maximum discount, which is awesome because the base cost for this building is 200 ducats, but because of the resources in our market, it's so much cheaper, and we can afford it. We have another parliament. We're gonna go with the highest percentage option again, so host army exercises, because there are still some laws that I would love to switch. So we have a change policy, balanced court. This is actually not horrible. Legislative efficiency also reduces the antagonism you get from wars, so it's not bad for 12 stability. I'm kinda tempted to do this. You know what? Sure, let's go for that. And for our own law change, we will switch out the admin system. We will go with central council because it's going to create a 0.15 difference in centralization, as the current system gives us decentralization. It's going to make the push for encouraging centralization that much faster as well. I think we initiated the downfall of Novgorod because they're getting absolutely destroyed now. Half of their country is occupied by Yaroslav out of all countries. And we actually don't have a diplomat, so we cannot get a casus belli. We need to raise our diplo spending, and we can afford to do that now. We don't have enough books in our market. Okay, we're gonna build a couple of scriptoriums in Stockholm as well. I'm gonna make sure that our hospital runs at 100% productivity, because right now it's running at 83%, which means we are not getting all of the disease resistance. The Black Death has appeared in Jamshi, so it's not gonna take a very long time to spread to our country because we are not that far away, but we will be ready. Estonia has finished the war, and we can create casus belli, religious war, because they have a pagan religion. So this is great. We should be able to get them. And Scania has 72% loyalty, so we can begin seizing territories from them. Let's take one of their locations. And as you can see, the annexation cost dropped down to 206. Gonna take us way less time now. Also at this point, let's go ahead and create our first colonial charter. We're going to use one of our cabinet members to support new farms in north or east. This is a unique action that we have, and we can only use this in colonies. It's going to give us a big boost for population growth, monthly development, and migration attraction. Yo, what is going on here? Norway is at war? Norwegian Volgaster war, and they actually want to take some lands from Norway. That's ridiculous, bro. I really wish we could join to help them out, but we cannot. Alright, so the Black Death has hit our country, and we're gonna use some actions to make sure it doesn't take too many of our pups. We're gonna move court into hiding, so hopefully this is going to protect our court members. And we're gonna go with segregate the infected, which is going to give us straight up 15% disease resistance. 20 stability for these two actions, pretty expensive, but should be worth it. And we just got a casus belli on Estonia, so we're going to immediately declare a war. Let's take them out. Don't need to raise all of our levies, guys. We can just raise in Finland, because this is already going to be 500, and we will have our vassals. Estonia doesn't really have a big army. Just gonna make sure to allow attachments, and we're going to mark our subjects to be supportive towards us. Easy as that, boys. They only have one province capital, so this is already going to be a ton of war score as we're getting the surrounding occupations. And we can just go ahead and quickly vassalize them, which is going to only result in up to 20 antagonism, and nobody cares about it. We can also take a little bit of cash from them. Welcome to our kingdom, Estonia. Poland has declared us as her rival. Oh no, and we actually have a regency now, which is not that bad, all things considered, because our ruler was so dogshit. At least she has a bit of admin ability. Wow, that is insane. So Iceland has been released from Norway. I suppose Volgas just did that because their war is over. So this is not great, and I suppose what we could have done at the start of the game is forming a defensive league with Norway. I think I'm gonna do it now. Don't want these guys to get into any further trouble, so if we pass a mutual defense law, we could go for like automatic defense. Should distract other countries from attacking them. We don't have any sailors available, so what we need to do to get them is build up some wharfs. And wharfs are going to cost us how much? 34 ducats. Okay, I guess we can build like one in a location that has enough burghers available. Do we want to use the claim throne casus belli on such a small country as Iceland though? I'm thinking maybe we will just make a claim eventually. Yeah, so we did not need to use that because Iceland is now in our union regardless. Okay, I'm not mad at that because this is pretty much the same thing as what we had before. Eventually we're gonna unify. Now, actually not a very bad time to begin building spy network on Novgorod because our truce is gonna expire in 3 years and we will probably go for them immediately. We want to have all of Scandinavia, and these guys have a couple of provinces that we need to take, and of course robbing them is always a good idea. Alright, we can change yet another law, and this time I would like to change our levy law, because currently we have peasant levies, and if we go for noble levies we will get another 25% efficiency, and our levies will be very strong. Alright guys, so we need to seize some territories from our subject to be able to make a claim on Novgorod, because we actually need to border them. So I'm seizing the second territory over here from Oreshek. And now, because we border them, we can go ahead and create a casus belli and go for cleanse heresy. Let's cancel this right quick. Boom, perfect. Now, he's a little bit unhappy, but he's gonna get 50 loyalty very shortly. No big deal. The canonization of Birgitta Vasa, and this would get Birgitta Vasa to be canonized, and a holy site Vadstena Abbey appears in Vadstena. This would also give us 10% estate satisfaction for the clergy. Now, holy sites are an interesting feature. If we go to our religion window, we have holy sites over here, and we can see in our location of Vadstena that we have this holy site which gives us some bonuses. We get max control plus 1% and local monthly prosperity as well as possible clerics. This holy site has only importance level of 1, which means it gives very slight bonuses. There are definitely stronger ones in game. Yaroslav is bullying Novgorod for the second time, and we finally got our own claim, so we can go ahead and attack them too. Let's go, boys. They have Lazar on their side. Oh wait, Pskov is a separate country? Oh, I didn't realize they're no longer under Novgorod. Okay, well, we can still fight them and we can co-belligerent them. Let's go and use our cleanse heresy casus belli and let's start this war. Alright, there we go. We have a new king, guys, and he's not great, but he's much better than what we had previously, so I'm happy with this. Now the Black Death has officially ended. It took lives of 260,000 of our pups, so that's pretty big, but we still have 600,000 population. We are restoring it. Oh man, this would have been so awesome if we could have converted Pskov at the same war, but it's a little bit too much war score, so we will go without the conversion. We will make him a vassal, and we're gonna rob him. There, that's amazing. I think I'm gonna make Belozero our subject as well. Like, this is not really an intended expansion, but why not have a vassal if you can? Like, that is just more money and more troops, so let's just continue occupying this guy. The historical Belozero subject of Sweden. We're gonna end up taking just a tiny bit more than their Scandinavian belongings, and this is because I want to have a direct connection with our new vassal of Belozero, so this is gonna be a 98% deal. And I'm not sure why this shows zero antagonism, because we are getting some, and there are going to be some upset countries, but none upset that much that they would enter a coalition. Oh shit, okay, I just noticed there is a secessionist state of Karelian people here. Okay, so this doesn't look pretty, and I'm not sure if we can do anything about this. Maybe we can make a claim on these guys? They are Orthodox after all, so I guess we will try. They are currently fighting Novgorod, but they are isolated. I'm not sure how this happened. Karela are a subject of Karelia. Spy on them instead. Okay, so apparently we need to spy on Karelian people. Alright, I'm learning some new things here. And also, we no longer have a new colony being established, so we're gonna continue creating colonial charters. Just gonna select whichever location here that's going to offer us a low maintenance. It looks like all of these locations give us 0.90 monthly maintenance, so it doesn't really matter which one we select, I suppose. We also just max out on centralization, so we can also push a little bit for innovativeness. How about that? This guy is very good at diplomacy, so we're gonna use him to push for something else now. We also have a lot of money, so I'm just gonna make sure that we have all the wharfs built. And looks like marble RGOs would give us quite a bit of profit, so I'm gonna start expanding these a little bit. Now, of course, we're gonna be releasing some new subjects from the areas that we just took, because once again, we will not have any control over this, so it's better to release subjects than to keep this. Alright, we can go for some more research. How about we get some noble estate satisfaction? Let's go for maximum RGOs in rural. We can go for diplo capacity, culture tradition. Grand privilege cost minus 10% is going to be useful as well. So fishing villages are not going to be very profitable right now, but we're going to build some of them because they are going to give us monthly sailors, and we will need that. Alright, for another law change, we're going to switch our limited censorship to no censorship so that we can get more support towards innovativeness. And we're finishing to build one more wharf, one more fishing village. We're going to have a decent amount of sailors, so we're going to go for a war with Denmark shortly. We want to start this war before we finish annexing our subject of Scania, because we're going to otherwise lose claims that we currently have. We could declare war using claims on province, which makes conquering provinces 25% cheaper. But of course, if we wanted to delay this, we could delay annexing Scania by starting the annexation of other subjects, because each subject that you stack up reduces the progress by 0.50. Alright guys, so we are only going to be building galleys because we want to make sure that we overpower the Danish Navy, and these are going to be stronger than transports, of course. We're gonna get like 6 galleys. This should be definitely enough. There we go, we can already take out Corella. That was very quick, our vassals took care of that. We're gonna start building more marketplaces now because we have very little trade capacity, so it would be awesome to perform more trades. And actually, maybe we want to focus a bit more on glass buildings too, because we're not getting the maximum discount anymore. It's like 15% now, so kinda want to build up some more glass guilds. Galleys are ready, boys. Alright, let's go for it. Declare war on Denmark. Claims on province, declare, let's go. Now, we can raise 12 naval levies, which is great. And of course, we're going to raise 6,000 army levies. Alright, let's occupy this stuff first. And he's got 30 ships, guys, but look at this. We can already see the navy quality that we have is 4.5 stars, and he's only got 4-star quality navy. And if we check his navy, we can actually see that he's only got cogs and fishing boats, and that's it. He's got no galleys whatsoever, which means it should be pretty easy for us to overpower him. And we're gonna move to his capital now. We got our subjects with us. Hopefully we're gonna be fine. Oh nice, we have expanded gravel road network debate for our parliament, and this is gonna help us to push for more centralization past our limit. So we wanna pass this agenda, we don't want to fail this. Let's go for more support. I actually don't wanna go for land focus because we're gonna be a naval based country. So I'm just gonna go with support spiritualist ideas, and this is gonna be enough. Oh my, what happened here? Guys, what the hell happened here? I just noticed that Novgorod is entirely blue. I hovered over and I see that Novgorod is a vassal of Pskov, and Pskov, of course, is our vassal. How did this even happen? I have no idea. I mean, I'm not complaining, like, we own a little bit more than we should. When did this even happen? Like, I somehow didn't notice this, but okay. Alright, with our next research, how about we strengthen up our navy a bit with navy morale? We can go with blockade efficiency, let's go with navy initiative, and also I would love to have some additional stability investment. And we have their capital. Now let's look how the naval battle is gonna go. So we can see that our morale is pretty much the same. They actually have a better admiral when it comes to military ability. He's got 99 stats, that's pretty crazy. But of course, we have galleys, guys. We have galleys compared to their measly fishing boats. We win this very easy. We get 10 war score. Okay, let's march forward. Let's see where his army is at. There he is. He's got 8.7 thousand levies. The AI actually predicts that we would lose this engagement. Interesting, but he's not engaging either for some reason. Can we just bypass him? That would be very funny. Guys, follow me. What the hell are you doing? Let's go. Let's go. Let's infiltrate this mofo. I actually have no idea why he's not moving his army at all. Now he's doing it, and he's going after our subjects. I think I'm not gonna try and save them, and we're just gonna try and occupy some province capitals. That should be still decent war score. Okay, you guys hold him for a bit. This might be a bit too risky, but hopefully it's gonna work out. He's walked into us, and he did not have full morale. So we're actually winning this with way less units. There we go, 17. Okay then. I guess all you need to do, guys, is just run around the circles from Denmark and just take their province capitals. That's it. I'm actually very surprised how easily we made this happen. We are taking out entirety of Denmark. This is awesome, man. And looks like they already had professional armies because we now have 35% spread. And we can get this right away. I will get this because it's gonna give us a little bit more research progress as you get 5% with each embraced institution. And of course, we're gonna no longer really have that much progress towards professional armies because we're gonna release all of this land that we took as subjects. Well, most of the land. I think I'm gonna keep a couple of these locations that we didn't buy from them earlier on. And that's it, boys. How beautiful is that? Alright, now I would like to finish the annexation of Scania, so we're going to seize one more territory from these guys, and this is gonna be enough progress. There we go, we actually have more than necessary. So after the Monthtic, we're gonna get all of that. We also have good relations with a couple other of our subjects, such as Oreshek, so we're gonna start integrating these boys as well. We just need some diplomats, because we're gonna integrate Oreshek and Lopskaya. And bit by bit, we're gonna start integrating everybody. Muscovy now is going to be our rival, guys, because we're kind of unexpectedly a dominant force in Russia now. So I think I'm gonna set up our second colonial charter at the same time. We can colonize 2 provinces. Let's go, boys. Want to get all of Scandinavia colonized. And also at this point, I kind of would like to start switching from traditional economy to capital economy, so we can go to our production tab and we can switch our employment system by paying 10 stability. Instead of first come first serve, we're gonna go with max profitable first, which is gonna move us towards capital economy rather than traditional economy. So this already gives us a minimal push. Now we can improve this with like laws, privileges and such. I also want to improve our naval modifier a little bit more, so we'll see what we can get our country. Well, we could get some naval push with the nobles privilege with noble navy, but I think we're gonna do this later because we don't want to empower these guys yet. I kind of want to do this after we revoke fortification licenses, because I feel like this is the only bad privilege that we right now have for the nobles. And guys, by the way, we're gonna set our navy an objective. They're going to patrol the seas. We're gonna select Western Baltic Sea and East Baltic Sea. And by doing this, we're going to increase our maritime presence, which is going to increase our control in the locations in the coast. We again have enough glass so we can continue building marketplaces because we have the maximum discount. Okay, we don't have the gravel road debate, and at this point we pretty much have the best laws that we could have, so I'm just gonna go with upgrading some RGOs. We can go for something like expand mining operations, which is going to give us a 33% discount. And while we have this discount, we want to upgrade as many of iron RGOs that we have. And actually we have quite a bit of copper too, so we're gonna be upgrading that as well. Okay, we might want to prioritize upgrading copper mines because I just noticed that we have this 400% additional local copper output. Are you good, my man? Okay, we need to max this out. Alright, we have accumulated enough religious influence for us to request a cardinal seat, and this is very good because you can stack these and you can increase your literacy this way. There we go, let's get it in Lund, and we will now start constructing a cardinal seat building, which gives 2.5% local max literacy. So if you get a few of those, it can be very good for your research. Now we are building a lot of fishing villages in our coastal locations because we want to get the monthly sailors, most of all. Some good bonuses here, such as local maritime presence, local food capacity, but the monthly sailors are going to be the most important for us because we want to have a strong navy. I'm gonna actually go ahead and fabricate a casus belli on Livonian order now, because we can go and fight Teutonic order and take this vassal from them. They only have Volgast as their ally. We are much stronger. So actually, let me declare this war right now. He only had one ship, so we just very quickly took that out, and apparently he's constructing some more. He's raising up naval levies. We can go ahead and hunt the Volgast's navy as well. Oh my god, all of our buildings are currently stalled because the lakes are freezing over. All of these locations have severe winter currently, so you get no building progress. Oh no, Livonian order, what are you doing, man? You don't get to occupy Estonia. That's not how it works, sir. Our vassals are actually pushing just crazy. I wish they would stick with me. Dude, this is our vassals with 5,000 levies sieging down Volgast, just bullying Volgast while we're taking down Livonian order and pushing for Teutonic order. This is awesome, man. The Danish subjects are really strong together. Where you go in Livonian order? You think I don't see you, so you think you're slick like this. Well, you're not gonna escape for too long. There we go. Okay, looks like Volgast is down and out. That's beautiful. I'm just gonna take war reparations from them. I really don't mind if they stay allied with Teutonic Order. And by the looks of it, Teutonic Order is also not having a good time because Poland is invading them again. I'm scared of Poland more than anything, so I'm gonna improve relations with these boys. Alright, a little bit of a naval invasion never hurt anybody. Oh my god, what Poland did to Teutonic Order is wild. And boom, there we go, guys. We took their last fort. We unfortunately suffered massive attrition through the siege because we had no food, so we're down to very few levies, but we managed to do it. Now the thing is that Livonia is too big for us to vassalize. And Teutonic Order, also, we cannot annex them because we cannot take their lands if we don't take our war goal, which was one of the Livonian lands. So that's a bit unfortunate. I think we're gonna take a couple of provinces from Livonia and release a new subject. And also, I really want to take this province inside the HRE. I did it when I played as Lithuania. I want to do it again as Sweden because it was awesome having this tiny subject here in the HRE that you can request to share institutions from. So I'm just gonna take a 100% deal and we will return for another war later. Thank you very much, Teutonic Order. Pleasure doing business with you. So of course, our new subject is gonna be here. And we're gonna create a new one in the Baltics as well. Now guys, we have a crap ton of subjects. We have 14 subjects in total, so it's time that we start annexing some of these. We're annexing Lopskaya right now, but I'm gonna start annexing Aunus Karelia or Estonia at the same time too. And we're gonna try and continue seizing lands from them every time that they get 70% loyalty so that we make this annexation a bit faster. So we need to improve relations with some of these guys. Let's start improving, and we will need to raise up our diplomatic spending a little bit because we are going to need some diplomats. And there it is, guys, just as we finish building some additional galleys. Perfect timing because we have the event for the Republic of Victual Brothers. Klaus Störtebeker was a legendary German pirate in the late 14th century known for raiding Hanseatic League ships. He led the Wittialen Brother, a pirate group originally hired as privateers by Dukes of Mecklenburg against Queen Margaret, but later turned against their employers. We could ask the Teutons for help, guys. How ridiculous is that? We just crushed the Teutons. Yeah, so we're not going to be asking them for any help. We're going to select the second option in this event because this will give us an annex casus belli on the Victual Brothers for 4 years. And they will actually get some very interesting buildings. They get Pirate Stronghold, which gives 20 monthly gold, Maritime Presence +1, and 20 monthly sailors. That's a very strong building. And they get a Harbor Tavern, which gives them monthly manpower, sailors, and Pops Join Rebels threshold -2%. Now, if we wanted to, we could also use the third option to continue and play as the Victual Brothers. So this is something that you can do as Sweden. You want to play a Pirate Republic? Go ahead. But because this is a Sweden run, we're going with the second one, and we're gonna have to get rid of them. Now the thing with them is that they have a pretty strong navy, but hopefully with these 9 galleys that we built up, we should be able to take them out. So we're gonna go with Danik's Casus Belli, but first we need to insult them because our relations are a bit too good with them. We have 52 relations, we need to get below 50. And yes, you might be thinking that we could maybe subjugate them. Well, not really, because they have minus 140 reasons. Different primary culture, different government type also contribute to this, and it's gonna be too hard to subjugate them, so we're going to insult and attack. There we go, we can declare war. Let's raise up all of our naval levies. And for the army levies, we won't need to raise them all. We're only going to need like a couple thousand realistically. It's really only their navy that is a problem for us. So our subjects have some ships as well, but from what I've noticed, they don't really tend to join us even if we ask them to attach. So we're gonna try and do this alone. Let's see, guys, if we transport our 4,000 levies, can we do it? Actually, it seems like they only have 8 ships currently, and they are constructing something. Are these mercenaries? Are they actually hiring mercenaries right now? Guys, you need to stop whatever bullcrap you're doing here. There we go. Let's take these boys out. They are very strong, holy crap. And we should be able to beat up their navy. There we go, 4 war score. And we are done with this war. So we can take our lands back, guys. Not as hard as it seems. The only thing you need to make sure is that you have a decent enough navy. And we are done with this, boys. We have our lands back. The pirates are no more. Let's just make sure that we continue patrolling the seas with our navy now. Dude, I so wish that we kept the pirate stronghold building. That would be ridiculously OP, but it seems like it gets destroyed once you take the lands back. It's probably coded so that it can only exist in a pirate republic. Wait, we did keep the harbor tavern though, so that's something. Hey, that's cool. By the way, this is what our institution growth looks like, guys. I forgot to show you after we started requesting knowledge sharing from our new subject in the HRE. We have 1% monthly for banking, and we also get a decent chunk of Renaissance growth. So we're gonna have the institutions very shortly. And I have been importing some stuff from the Praga market. They have the institution, so this also increases the growth. Yo, how did this even happen? But this is not even enough locations to form the Netherlands. I actually have no idea, but the county of Netherlands is a subject of France. This was Flanders, right? Wow, that's the first time I'm seeing something like that. And do you want to tell me that Aragon won a war against Castile? What happened here? Usually what you would see is France owning like half of Aragon and Castile just eating up bits of Portugal, but this time it seems like Portugal and Aragon survived. Very different game from what I'm seeing usually. By the way, guys, we started unlocking some research from the professional armies branch. So we have gunpowder, we have gunsmith unlocked, and a couple of more research down here. We're gonna get the recruitment law, and right afterwards we're gonna go for the Swedish steel, which is a ridiculously powerful advance with 5% discipline. And the fact that you can get this so early is just awesome. So let's queue this up, and afterwards we can go for armory so that we can have some manpower. We don't really need to even focus on like unlocking professional units. Just having Swedish steel and using our levies is gonna be very good. Alright, we can go for some additional colonial charters, guys. Honestly, I think I will start establishing 3 of these at once. And we managed to get a little bit more prestige so we can continue passing laws for our union. Right now, we are at legislature of the union, so right afterwards, we will have the question of unification. Guys, I noticed a big problem with our fishing villages. So they were not profitable, so what the AI would do is close them because we had the close and open buildings automation on. I've decided to get rid of this for now and manually open up all the buildings, because even if they're not profitable to us, the only thing we're looking to get from them is monthly sailors. So if they're closed, they don't give us the monthly sailors, and it defeats the purpose of having them. So this is going to be very good now that we fixed this problem, because we're going to get way more sailors, and soon we're going to have the barks unlocked, so we will get a crap ton of barks to increase our maritime presence. Speaking of which, we actually have a map mode for this. Let's enable this and we can see how much maritime presence we have. So in some of the sea tiles we have like 41, we have 44, 58, which is good, but we can push for 100, which is going to give us more trade advantage and of course increase the control. When it comes to our societal values, we also pushed as much as we could for naval. So we have right now 35 progress towards naval, which gives us plus 10% maritime presence, and we get proximity cost reduction through maritime as opposed to proximity cost through land. Alright, we have another parliament, and I think, guys, we're gonna be going for another claim on Teutons and take what's left of Livonian order. There we go, we can fabricate a direct claim on these boys. They have Brandenburg as their ally, but Brandenburg is a very, very weak country in EU5, so it's not gonna be an issue whatsoever. Okay, so while our subjects take care of Livonian order, we're gonna go for the Teutons ourselves. Let's go and transport our boys. Hey, why you no transport? What's going on? The navies are a bit weird, man. We're gonna have to load up the ships with our units ourselves. There we go. Now that works. Danish patriots have proclaimed the country. Oh, these guys popped out. No problem. We're gonna quickly take care of that. I'm just gonna go for a very quick carpet siege of these new Danish lands. And I love the fact that we don't even need to finish occupying everything. We can just click the Annex Revolter button and we can get rid of them. Very easy. Question of unification. We will vote for the unification of crowns, which will finally enable annexation of members, and we will have the annexation speed of 1. If we want to increase this, then we will need to pass further laws such as swift and rapid unification. Awesome, we just unlocked Swedish steel. We're gonna be unstoppable now. Holy shit, we are very close to actually vassalizing Brandenburg. That would be 124 war score. Well, they're landlocked, so I don't really want that anyways, but it's just funny how it doesn't take much. I'm gonna grab their money though. 70 ducats as well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm just gonna go ahead and release Teutonic Order as our own historical vassal. So now we have Teutonic Duchy. And we can create another subject over here. That's gonna be the subject of Lithuania Minor. So we own our own little Lithuania here. Guys, it's 1393 and I think we made pretty awesome progress with Sweden. We annexed all of Denmark. We have a lot of subjects here in the Baltics. We crushed the Teutonic Order, vassalized them. We have this tiny piece of land in the HRE that we're using for institutions. We have just a huge chunk of Russia as well because our Pskov subject somehow managed to vassalize Novgorod. Oh my god, right. They also had this disjointed location that we also now own. That's just fantastic. We already have the question of unification when it comes to our Swedish union with Norway, so we could actually start the annexation now if we wanted to. Although it would take a really long time. As you can see, it predicts that it would take until 7057. So basically, to speed us up, we will need to continue passing more laws. We will need to go for further laws for the question of unification. I wouldn't say that it would be worth to annex Norway right now. It would be better for us to start annexing the smaller subjects. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this run. If you did, make sure to click the like button, subscribe for more, and I will see you next time in another EU5 video. A big thanks to all the YouTube channel members. You guys are all amazing.